You know how to come back to what you can control. You know how to return to your values. You know how to take small, steady steps. You know how to quiet your mind. And you know how to walk forward, even when the road ahead is still blurry. You are not powerless, you're just in transition. And transitions, though uncomfortable, are often the birthplace of the most meaningful chapters of our lives. I've seen people rebuild themselves from moments just like the one you're in right now. Students, parents, CEOs, artists, people who thought they were too old to start over, people who thought they were too stuck to move forward. And every single one of them found their direction again the moment they stopped waiting for certainty and began choosing honesty. So if you're feeling even the smallest sense of clarity right now, honor that, nurture it, let it grow. And if you're still unsure, still confused, still walking through the fog, that's okay too. You don't need to fix your entire life today, you just need to take one honest step. Before we end this video, I want to speak to you, not as a coach, not as a philosopher, but simply as a human being who cares. You are capable of finding your way. You are allowed to begin again, and you deserve a life that feels like it belongs to you. If this message resonated with you, if it helped you breathe a little deeper, think a little clearer, or feel a little less alone, I invite you to stay connected. This channel, Stoic Awakening More, exists for exactly that reason, to help modern people navigate modern struggles with ancient wisdom, to give you tools, not pressure, clarity, not chaos, strength, not overwhelm. So if you haven't yet, I'd love for you to hit the like button. It helps this message reach more people who might be feeling exactly like you are. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. Every week, we dive deeper into Stoic practices for real life, clarity, confidence, emotional resilience, inner peace. And if you feel moved to, leave a comment. Tell me what part spoke to you. Tell me where you're feeling lost. Tell me what small step you're ready to take today. You never know, your words might help someone else who's reading. And sometimes, helping someone else find direction is exactly what helps you find your own. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to spend this moment with me. And most importantly, thank you for choosing yourself even in the smallest way. This is your journey, this is your reset, and I'll be right here walking with you every step of the way. Until next time, stay grounded, stay steady, and stay awake to the person you're becoming. This is Stoic Awakening More. I'll see you in the next video. 5. Accept uncertainty and walk forward anyway. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You will never have complete certainty, not about your career, not about relationships, not about the future. But here's the good news. You don't need certainty to move, you just need courage. Epictetus said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him." Feeling lost is not a sign that you're off your path, it's a sign that you're in a moment of transition, becoming someone new. The Stoics didn't wait for perfect clarity. They acted from their values, from their discipline, from the present moment, and clarity followed. A friend of mine, Michael, once described his life as one big question mark. He didn't know if he should switch careers. He didn't know if he was living in the right city. He didn't know what the right path even looked like. I told him, "You don't need to know the whole road. You just need to choose one honest step." He chose a small step, taking a night class in something he cared about. That one step led to two more. Those two led to opportunities, and opportunities led to direction. That's the secret. The path appears when you walk, not when you wait. And sometimes, being lost is simply the universe pulling you away from what's wrong, so you can move toward what's right. You just haven't walked far enough yet to see where it leads. So, now that we've walked through these 5 Stoic practices together, I want you to pause for a moment. Take one slow breath, let it settle. Because maybe right now something inside you feels lighter. Maybe the fog hasn't completely lifted yet, but there's a crack in it, a small opening, a soft glow.
whenever the fog rolls in again.
3. Begin with small disciplines. Don't wait to feel ready. One of the biggest myths about overcoming feeling lost is thinking you need a perfect plan before you move. But the Stoics teach something very different. Action is the cure. Not giant action, not dramatic reinvention, not quitting your job tomorrow and moving to Bali. Just one small, steady, intentional action today. Let me tell you a story. A college student named Emma once told me she felt paralyzed by indecision. She said, "I don't know what to do with my life, so I don't do anything." I told her that, okay, let's not plan your life, let's plan your morning. We started with 3 tiny things she could do every day. Wake up and drink water, journal for 5 minutes, spend 10 minutes doing something meaningful to her, reading, drawing, anything. These actions weren't life-changing in themselves, but they taught her something powerful. She wasn't powerless, she wasn't stuck, she could move. When you feel lost, small disciplines act like anchors. They remind you that you are capable of showing up even when life feels directionless. And here's the beautiful part. Once you start taking small steps, your mind starts offering you bigger ones. Ideas come back, motivation returns, confidence grows. I've seen this with artists, entrepreneurs, parents, students, overworked professionals. Feeling lost is often a symptom of being overwhelmed and not incapable. Small disciplines restore agency, and agency restores direction. So don't wait to feel ready. Start with something small, something you can do now. Clarity will meet you on the road. 4. Create stillness, because a noisy mind can't see clearly. One of the main reasons people feel lost today isn't because they don't know what they want. It's because they never give themselves enough silence to hear it. Your mind can't guide you if it's drowning in noise. The Stoics understood this deeply. They practiced stillness long before mindfulness became trendy. They wrote, they reflected, they walked alone. They sat in silence. They made space for wisdom to rise. A client of mine named Maria, a busy mother of 2 in Chicago, once told me she couldn't hear her own thoughts anymore. She said, "It feels like life is speaking louder than my soul." So we built her a stillness ritual, just 15 minutes a day. No phone, no music, no multitasking, just silence. She told me something beautiful weeks later. "For the first time in years, I can hear myself again." You see, stillness is not a luxury, it's a survival skill. There are 3 Stoic practices that create this inner quiet. Journaling, not to be productive but to be honest. Write your chaos, write your confusion, write your questions. Clarity grows in the space you create on the page. Negative visualization, imagine losing what you have. This isn't depressing, it's awakening. It cuts through the noise and reminds you what truly matters. It helps you see what you want to protect, not what you want to impress. Memento mori. Remember that life is finite. When you remember your days are limited, decisions become simpler. You stop chasing temporary admiration and start choosing lasting meaning. Stillness isn't about slowing life down, it's about slowing you down enough to see your life clearly. When your mind becomes calm, your direction becomes visible. When we talk about feeling lost, most people assume the solution is to find clarity. But if clarity were that easy, none of us would struggle. Stoicism teaches something different. You don't find clarity first. You create the conditions that allow clarity to appear. And that begins with the first principle. 1. Start with what you can control. That is the Stoic reset. And someone tells me they feel lost, the very first question I ask is, what part of your situation is actually yours to control? You'd be surprised how many people pause, look up and realize almost everything that's stressing them out lies outside their control. A young woman named Lisa came to me last year. She said, "I feel stuck, I feel directionless." When I asked what was overwhelming her, she listed her parents' expectations, her friends' achievements, comparisons on Instagram, The fear of disappointing others, the fear of choosing the wrong career. Again, I listened, let her finish, then gently asked, "Which of these things can you directly control today?" She stared at the floor for a long moment and whispered, "None of them." And that was her turning point. You see, when life feels heavy, it's usually not because we're carrying too much. It's because we're carrying things that were never ours to carry in the first place. Stoicism teaches us this: the more you try to control what's uncontrollable, the more lost you feel. The more you focus on what is within reach, the more grounded you become. So I want you to ask yourself right now, quietly, honestly, what part of your life right now is truly yours to influence? Your effort, yes. Your attitude, yes. Your daily habits, yes. Your values, always. Your decisions today, absolutely. That's where clarity begins, not in the future, not in a 5-year plan, not in some perfect revelation, but in returning to the small circle of influence right in front of you. When you come home to what you can control, the fog starts to thin out. You stop running blind. You start walking with intention. 2. Return to your core values. The inner compass. Feeling lost isn't about not having goals. It's about losing touch with your values, the things that make your life meaningful on a soul level. I once worked with a man named Jonathan, a high-earning engineer in San Francisco. On paper, his life was perfect, but he told me, "Every day feels like I'm playing a character." When we explored deeper, he realized something profound. He valued creativity, but his job rewarded predictability. He valued connection, but his lifestyle rewarded isolation. He valued growth, but he was stuck in comfort. He wasn't lost, he was misaligned. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not aligned with your nature, do not pursue it." Modern life convinces us to chase things that photograph well but feel empty. Prestige, approval, achievement for the sake of achievement. But Stoicism asks a quieter, more honest question. Who are you when the world stops watching? I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine stripping your life down to its essentials. Imagine removing everything that's there because someone else wanted it for you. What remains? What actually matters? For some people, it's family. For others, it's creativity, service, freedom, adventure, simplicity, integrity, or peace. Clarity returns the moment you remember what your values are. Direction returns the moment you start living by them again. A life that follows your values might not always look impressive, but it will feel true. And a life that feels true, rarely feels lost. Have you ever had a moment in your life when you suddenly looked around and thought, "How did I even get here?" Maybe you were sitting in your car after work staring at the steering wheel. Maybe it was late at night when the house was finally quiet. Or maybe it was during a conversation when someone asked you, "So, how are you doing?" And for the first time, you didn't know how to answer. If that's you, I want you to know something. You're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. In my years working with people, from young professionals in New York to exhausted parents in California, I have noticed one thing: feeling lost has become a silent epidemic of the modern world. A man named Daniel, one of my clients in Seattle, once told me, "I feel like I'm running, but I don't know what I'm running toward. Every day feels like noise." And when he said that, I knew he wasn't talking about his schedule, he was talking about his soul. The truth is, feeling lost doesn't happen because you're weak or lazy. It happens because modern life moves faster than the human heart can process. We're flooded with information, expectations, opinions, deadlines, and somewhere along the way, we forget what we actually want. Stoicism has a very simple way of describing this. When your mind gets pulled too far outward, you lose sight of your inner compass, and that's when the fog rolls in. That quiet, heavy fog that makes everything feel uncertain, confusing, or meaningless. Maybe you felt it too. You wake up, and even though nothing is technically wrong, something feels off. You look at your life, your job, your relationships, your habits, and they feel distant, like you're watching someone else's movie. You keep going, but inside you feel like you're walking without a map. I want you to imagine this for a moment. You're standing at a crossroads. There are 1,000 different paths in front of you. Some are loud and crowded, full of expectations from family, society, social media. Others are quiet, almost invisible. One of those quiet paths is actually yours, but you can't see it clearly because the noise around you is too loud. That's what being lost feels like. And here's what I want you to hear today, and hear it deeply. Being lost is not the end of the journey, it's the beginning of awareness. It's the moment your soul gently taps your shoulder and says, "Hey, something needs to change." I've spent many years studying Stoicism, not just as a philosophy, but as a tool for real people living real messy, fast-paced lives. And one thing I love about Stoicism is that it doesn't give you poetic, unreachable advice. It gives you clarity, it gives you direction, it brings you back to yourself. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And that single sentence holds the key to escaping the feeling of being lost. Because the moment you return to your mind, your values, your small daily actions, the fog begins to lift. A friend of mine, a nurse in Chicago, told me a story last year. She said, I wasn't depressed, I wasn't anxious, I was just lost, like I was walking through my life on autopilot. And when we talked, it became clear she wasn't lacking motivation, she was lacking alignment. Her life was full, but not full of the things that mattered to her. And that's something you might relate to. Sometimes we're not lost because we don't know where to go. We're lost because we've been walking someone else's path for too long. So in this video, I want to take you by the hand, gently, like a friend, and walk with you through 5 Stoic practices that can help you find your direction again. Not the direction society wants for you, not the direction you should choose, but the direction that belongs to you. These practices aren't complicated. They don't require you to escape to the mountains or sit in silence for hours. They're simple, grounded, deeply human shifts in the way you see yourself and your life. By the end of this video, I want you to feel something you may not have felt in a long time. A sense of calm, a sense of control, a sense that even if you don't have all the answers right now, you are capable of finding your way again. So take a breath with me, right here, right now. Let this moment be your reset. Let this be the moment you step out of the fog and back into your life. Are you ready? Let's begin.